Yeah, I'm recording it. Okay. Should I repeat it again?
No, that's fine. It's okay. You can continue from now.
Okay.
It's okay.
So the business process starts from the premium collection. So when we are taking the new policy, we will collect the premium from the customer. So once the premium is collected, so
Mm-hmm.
after that we will take this as an revenue into our business, and upon the expiration of the policy, that is on the 4th of October 2021, we will renew this policy. So
Mm-hmm.
after this is renewed, so this is
Mm-hmm.
one part to it. And another
Mm-hmm.
part is that since this is an health insurance, let's say I got into sick and I need a treatment. So I
Mm-hmm.
will take an coverage inside a hospital that can be dealt with United Health Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So here I have two things. One is lab test is there. So another thing is like my medical expenses and the
Mm-hmm.
medication. So
Mm-hmm.
medication will not be covered under the policy, but whereas
Mm-hmm.
the lab charge and the medication cost will be included as a part of the policy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do is that I'll take the treatment. So after taking the treatment, I'll get the receipt. So after getting the receipt, what I'll do is
Mm-hmm.
that I'll upload into the server or the application, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll start my claiming process.
Mm-hmm.
So after initiate this process, so what will happen in backend is that in the core application, basically system will validate whether this is an valid claim or should I reject at the first level.
Mm-hmm.
So once this is processed, so it will go for an approval mechanism. So once this is approved, so this is automated based on the engine, the rules
Mm-hmm.
that we have set up based on the parameter. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
50 parameters that we have set up. So based
Mm-hmm.
on that, engine will run and it will say that it can be approved. So it will
Mm-hmm.
move to the particular manager.
Mm-hmm.
So then manager will approve it. So once this is approved, then it
Mm-hmm.
will be moved to the particular core application. So from there, the
Mm-hmm.
payment will be released. So
Mm-hmm.
here in this case, so what will
Mm-hmm.
happen is that we will have two applications. One is core application and the
Mm-hmm.
other one is our fusion application. So our
Okay.
understanding is that core application is used to have a basic insurance related business where the premium collection and everything will happen there, and
Mm-hmm.
the financial transaction of the core application will be sent to the fusion application to the integration. So we
Mm-hmm.
saw this one web services and the API calls,
Mm-hmm.
REST API. So using those things, we will receive the financial data into the fusion application.
Mm-hmm.
So what we will receive is that, so let's take this example that we have maybe the premium collection. So we
Mm-hmm.
have received premium. So which means this is a revenue for us. So
Mm-hmm.
clients wants to have this as an GL feed or the journal entries. So
Mm-hmm.
in so there are two ways of having it. So one is that at the receivable part. So I
Mm-hmm.
can take this as an revenue or I can take this as a journal entry. So in our case, let's take this as a journal entry. So we
Mm-hmm.
are receiving this journal entry. Maybe this will be scheduled process. So we will receive as a part of maybe the daily 12 o'clock something around the same time. We will receive this feed.
Mm-hmm.
So in this journal entry, we will have all those policy number and the claim number and the status, all those relevant details, so that
Mm-hmm.
it will stay as a reporting part, or maybe in future if you wanted to do a reconciliation between the different application, so that we can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is one process. So
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, so why do we need fusion application is that for the higher level of reporting and the S-base cubes and the budgeting part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So here we will not take our supply chain modules. The
Mm-hmm.
reason for that is that we don't have any actual goods it's been sold out or anything. So it is only the service it is being rendered. So we will not need the purchasing modules and the other things.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, so we have two things here. So one is core and the other one is non-core. So
Mm-hmm.
what will be the core is that whichever is related to the premium or the policy related transactions. So let's
Mhm.
say I'm collecting a premium or I'm renewing this policy. So these are
Mhm.
the transaction we say this is an core transaction. And what is
Mhm.
non-core? Non-core is something that I'm paying rent or I'm paying something for a maintenance. So this kind of
Mhm.
transaction I call as an non-core. So even our
Mhm.
asset purchase and these things will come under non-core.
Mhm.
So first thing is we have categorization. So categorization we will have it at a vendor and customer, and
Mhm.
apart from that we will have categorization based on the account code. So here we will
Mhm.
see the categorization in the chart of account structure. So specific account nature will be maintained for this purpose. Let's say starting from the serial number 1 will be for core and 2 will
Mhm.
be for non-core. Similarly, we will categorize for asset and liabilities, revenue and expenses.
Mhm.
So based on this, we will segregate that these are the core transaction and these are the accounts that deals with non-core transactions.
Mhm.
So with this, what we will do is that, so apart from that, we have multiple policies. So each policies we will consider as an product. So
Mhm.
this should be considered under our chart of account structure. So the reason
Mhm.
for that is that if I want to understand the profitability ratio of the particular product or how it is working, so maybe I'll have 100 products. So on this
Mhm.
100 product, if I want to understand which product is performing well, I need to have an analysis on this.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
in order to have this, I need to have this under inside my chart of accounts.
Okay.
So this is the basic mm, what do you call it, the requirement we can say.
Okay. So tell me something here, Arun. So let's say now you said you want to analyze the product, so you decide that it's part of the COA structure, right?
Yeah.
Chart of account structure. So let's assume down the lane we want to analyze something else,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I know you can give a couple of extra ones, chart of accounts to create, like future ones.
Yeah.
But let's assume we have more than what we have accommodated for.
Okay.
How do you do it? What do you do?
Okay. This is after we configure and after we start the transaction.
Yes.
Yeah. After we started creating transaction, it is not advisable to alter our chart of account because we will
Yes.
have some
Mm-hmm.
the data issues and the data corruptions will happen. So it is not
Mm-hmm.
suggested to change after we start the transaction.
Mm-hmm. No, but what do you do in that case? In that case, you just do it through reporting your analysis.
Yeah, like the let's say in your case, maybe we have the structure as company accounts
Mm-hmm.
and maybe intercompany and the product. So now
Mm-hmm.
if you want to track with the location as well, so we cannot
Mm-hmm.
add the location part here
Mm-hmm.
because if we add it now at this point, so we will have the data issue. So the
Mm-hmm.
at this point, so this is critical one, like we cannot
Mm-hmm.
change it again. So it will be re-implementation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But otherwise, the only other option is to, if you need to analyze something, right? It's only through reporting you can do, right?
Yeah, yes, yes,
If-
only through reporting.
Okay. Hope I'm not confusing too much.
No, no, not confusing actually. So reporting in the sense, so if I want to take based on the location, so again, how I will take is that with the account code combination that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I do transaction in maybe let's say United States, India, and Oman. And if
Mm-hmm.
I want to take this report, I can take with the
Mm-hmm.
legal entity. But apart from that, inside the United States, I might have it in New York and I might have it in California and the other states as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to segregate at this level, I
Mm-hmm.
need a segment called location. But whereas I didn't add this at the initial configuration. So it,
Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah, so this is where our issue comes. So we cannot
Mm-hmm.
go back and add again.
Okay. That's why, yeah.
Yeah,
So what do
so
you do in that case?
I mean, we cannot give a solution on these cases. So only option we can give is that maybe we can, if we have segregated based on what do you call the vendor codes. So those
Okay.
cases we can try with the reporting. So that is technically we can handle.
Okay.
But still,
But not on the
yeah,
functional
yeah,
setup side. Okay.
yeah, we cannot do it. So that is why framing the chart of accounts is an important key activity.
Yeah.
Because
That's
if
why I
we,
was just asking that.
yeah, because if we miss here at the initial stage, we cannot add it at the later stage. So
Mm-hmm.
even the structure like defining the ledger and the legal entity as well, if we
Mm-hmm.
decide something wrongly, so we cannot correct it again at the later stage.
Yeah.
So let's say we have maybe let's say we have 6 countries totally
Mm-hmm.
operations.
Mm-hmm.
So now we wanted to have ledger for each country, one ledger
Mm-hmm.
and one legal entity. But the operating unit will be multiple, maybe 20 operating units per country. So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, the disadvantage is that unless I close all the offices, I'll not be able to close my general ledger module.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I close the particular operating unit, the other operating unit will affect.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing. And the another thing is like I have the document sequencing that is for the voucher generation. So it will
Mm-hmm.
help in terms of reconciliation and reporting for the compliance part.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to define, if I have sequence based on the operating unit, that I cannot do because the sequencing thing will work based on the ledger. Since I
Mm-hmm.
have created only one ledger for a particular country, I cannot do it. So
Mm-hmm.
similarly, we have aspects to it. So that is why these are all the key structures that we need to define uh, before closing this up. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we should be more conscious in terms of defining and framing the structure. So
Mm-hmm.
all these things like the legal entity, ledger, and the chart of accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is what. So any question like
No, no, I'm good. Go ahead.
uh, okay. So basically, so this is what I thought we will take as a use case. So maybe you can think over. So I have created something, but maybe you can just see if you have any doubt or you need any clarification, you can just ask in the starting of the class or anytime between the class.
Mm-hmm.
So we can check that one. So after that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can start the class.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to convey before we start the class.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can just check over on this part and you can work on this. So how do we plan this one? Like we will just draft something and we will just say like how it is coming up, and based on that we will start the configuration.
Okay.
So now what I will do is that I'll create one ledger for understanding purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and we will see like how journals are created and how we can load the chart of accounts values and what are the values that we are having it here, and
Mm-hmm.
how to create the legal entities, and
Mm-hmm.
how to assign it with ledger, and how ledger is working, and the business unit and the
Mm-hmm.
other aspect of it. So we will see all those things today. So maybe with this inputs you can create this one, the legal entity and other things you can try out in the Fusion instance. Anyway, we have the
Mm-hmm.
instance, so you can try out. So if you need any clarification, we can take that.
So you want me to go ahead and create something using that United Health Insurance Limited?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
create using that one.
So I think I'll be stuck with this Oman Qatar and Singapore addresses and other things.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'll be stuck there with their whatever the pin codes or whatnot, the postal codes, God knows.
Yeah.
I have
uh,
no idea. Even
yeah.
India ones I need.
Okay. Sure. Okay. We can do this. So maybe you can create for US, and I'll create it for India. India, Oman, Qatar, and Singapore. I'll create it. Yeah, you can create only for the US. So based on that, I will create for the remaining countries.
Okay, and let's say, so United States is, okay, sorry, United Health Insurance Limited is my enterprise.
Yeah,
And then what comes under that? Legal entity is,
yeah.
what
Under
do I
that we
have?
have, yeah, we have enterprise. Under enterprise we will have the division. So
Uh,
in this case we have only one
or
division,
let's
that is.
say we have four divisions here. No, five divisions, right? Four or five? Four. Nay,
Oh,
four, five.
yeah.
Five divisions.
Okay.
So United States, India, Oman, Qatar, and Singapore.
No,
And then,
actually division is something that the line of business. So in our
uh,
case it will be
so
a
okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
So if that's the division, then United Health Insurance can have, let's say, one is what, policies, and the other one we can break it up into something else. I don't know what are the divisions that they have.
Yeah, divisions we can say health insurance and overseas insurance and
Okay,
maybe travel insurance we can say. So three
okay,
divisions we can have it.
okay. Health. So give me a second. Let me just scribble it down. So health, overseas, and what was the other one?
Other one is life cover.
Life insurance. Okay. And then that I can split into other areas, right?
Yeah,
Like United States.
yeah,
Uh, okay. And then in United States, I can go by state also if I want to, right?
yeah, yes, yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Let me think about that.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll share this one. So yeah, so in our case, it will be United Health Insurance. That will be our enterprise, and
Mm-hmm.
we will have the division. So division would be our health insurance, and then we
Overseas
have
life insurance.
overseas and the life insurance. So this would be our division.
Mm-hmm.
So here we wanted to define whether we will have it based on the division, like for each division whether we will have separate ledger or we will have it based on the country, or how do we want it to have, we will define it here.
Okay.
So in our case, maybe we can take this way. So we will take for health insurance one ledger,
Mm-hmm.
and we will take overseas one ledger,
Mm-hmm.
and we will say life insurance one ledger.
Mm-hmm.
So under this, we will create legal entity. So legal entity would be, let's say, for US we will create maybe three legal entities. So
Mm-hmm.
with the different states.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I will create for Singapore and Qatar and the other countries. So,
Okay.
so this would be for each division,
Okay.
the legal entities. So,
But tell me something here, Arun.
yeah,
What I know is what I've heard, and what I know is divisions are optional, right?
yeah, it is optional. Yeah.
And no, what I'm trying to get at is not many companies actually implement a division, is what I heard. So if that's the case, let's assume that's the case.
Okay.
So what do we do in that case? So we don't have the division of health or life overseas. So we directly come to the primary ledger then, right?
Yeah, we can create primary ledger directly. I mean, basically the enterprise and the division will be created by the HCM consultants.
Mm-hmm.
So the primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, and this part will be created by the financial consultants.
Okay.
and the distribution center and the inventory arc and the
Supply
item,
chain.
yeah, supply chain. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so the financial aspect we will
But
create.
for now, I know for our teaching learning purposes, we'll just go ahead and create how it is with the division. But I'm just curious because, they say mostly divisions they're not using.
Yeah,
At least in Fusion, they haven't used much, though it is there. Not many implementations are using the division as a group.
yeah.
So
So that's
anyway.
what if you have multiple businesses, maybe the group of companies, uh, it will be useful for them. So apart from that, if I have, so this we are trying to fit in, but actually the line of business is entirely different. I have two
Mm-hmm,
business. Maybe I have the property management,
mm-hmm,
or maybe I'll do kind of in real estate. So this is one business for me, and I'm doing the retail business, maybe
mm-hmm,
fashion and the other things. So this would be my
mm-hmm,
another business,
mm-hmm,
and I also do sales like buying and selling. So if
mm-hmm,
I have three line of business, so in this case I can use this. But apart from that, for an insurance, it will be only the insurance is my line of business. But we are just trying to fit in with
mm-hmm.
life insurance, health insurance, and the
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
So that is why mostly it's not used actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will create the primary ledger, and we will create the legal entity, and we
Mm-hmm,
will create the business unit, and maybe we will add the chart of account values to it, and we will assign the balancing segment values.
mm-hmm.
So we will try this one.
Okay.
So I'll start with creating an user.
Mhm. So first, so the first steps, let's say when we are given an instance
Yeah.
in a company, let's assume I'm thrown into an implementation project just for
Okay.
the kicks.
Okay.
I'm thrown into that project.
Okay.
And so what's the first step that I do as an
Okay.
implementation consultant?
Yeah. So as an implementation consultant, the first step would be like after we give the demo session and everything to the client. So maybe
Mm-hmm,
client is happy with our service, and if we get the project, so the
mm-hmm,
first step would be like apart from the project manager role to have the timelines and the other thing figured out. So what we
mm-hmm,
will do is that we will have the link received from the Oracle. So Oracle will give us the link.
mm-hmm,
So that includes our development environment and the production environment. So apart from this two link, if we
mm-hmm,
wanted to have a test environment also, so that also we can claim from Oracle.
mm-hmm,
So when we have created this, so the first step, what we will do is that we will create our own user. So once the user is created, so maybe we will attach the role, or maybe we can customize the role at later point of time. So the first point is that we will create a user. So once the user is created, we will
mm-hmm.
create an implementation project. So for the
Okay.
implementation project, we will select what are the modules that we have taken.
Offerings. Mm-hmm,
Yeah, so whatever we have taken, licensing part, like we have taken AP, ARGL, and FA, maybe only five modules, and the
mm-hmm,
financial part. We didn't take
mm-hmm,
anything on the project or anything on the supply chain management. So we will select only the financial modules, and with that we will start our configuration.
mm-hmm.
So after we come to this stage, we will get the requirement from the client. So we
Okay.
will document the requirement, each and every process. So
Mm-hmm,
in our this thing we start high level that we have the premium and we have the collection, and then we have this one. So apart from that, if we take in real time, we will
mm-hmm,
have multiple validation for each product. So let's
mm-hmm.
say at high level we have discussed about the premium collection and the other thing. So inside the premium collection, we have the mode of collection and how do we collect it and what are the privileges that we are making to the customer. So we might give it an EMI as well. Maybe quarterly they can pay our mode of collection. So how do we want it to take? So similarly, we
Mhm.
have more of detailed requirement from the customer. So after we take the requirement, we will document it and we will get sign up. So
Mhm.
once this is defined, we will suggest a solution to the client. So we will
Mhm.
say maybe you can take this structure. So maybe
Mhm.
client might say that I don't want to take because of so and so reason.
Mhm.
So we might change the document and we might send it back again. So after the conclusion, maybe we will start our configuration. So till
Mhm.
then, it will be only a documentation process and understanding and the solutioning part. So
Mhm.
once this is done, we will basically do the configuration. So once this configuration part is done, so we will
Mhm.
do the data migration part and then we will give CRP, like we will
Mhm.
give a walkthrough.
Okay.
So in the CRP, we might get an feedback that I want so and so thing. Let's say I wanted to have the document sequence this way.
Mhm.
Maybe we gave it differently, but want it in different way. So we
Mhm.
can so similarly we will have few feedbacks coming in the CRP. So based on the feedback, we will work on the second CRP. So
Okay.
once the second CRP is done, then maybe client will say that okay, this can be taken through. So
Mhm.
after this is taken, so basically here we will set a cutoff date. So
Mhm.
based on what date we are working. So let's say we are working with 30th June or 30th September. So with this data,
Mhm.
what we will do is that we will freeze the data, and with this
Mhm.
we will migrate the data and we will give it to the user to check whether the balances and everything is loaded correctly.
Mhm.
So when we speak about the data migration, we say the balances. So that is one thing is on the trial balance on the GL aspect.
Mhm.
And we will speak about the open invoices in the AP module. So where we will have the open invoices and we might have the prepayment. So prepayment might be partial or it might be fully paid. So for the fully paid cases, we don't have any issue. But whereas
Mhm.
it is partial, so we will have to do the payments manually and we should make it available for the application.
Mhm.
So similarly, we will take the AR, so the open invoices and the other parts, the customer and the vendor migration. And after that, we will have the asset module, the fixed asset register. We will upload into Fusion application.
Mhm.
So once this data migration and the configuration, everything is done, we will give it to the user for the confirmation.
Mhm.
So once this is done, so we will fix a date. So on this date, basically we will not do any transaction, maybe 3 days or 4 days. So
Mhm.
after that, we will start creating the transaction. So that is what we call go live. So once it
Okay.
is went live, then we will
Mhm.
support user maybe 3 months or 4 months. So based on the contract.
Mhm.
So this is at high level what a functional consultant will be doing in the implementation project.
Mhm.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. So when you say you create a role the first time, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to create a role that is called the implementation consultant role, or is it going to be a specific,
No,
how do
in
you?
implementation consultant role, we don't want to edit it or customize it.
Mhm.
So the role mostly we will be customizing is module specific. So if you see this implementation consultant, this is not module specific.
Mhm.
Instead,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
it's,
a
he
setup.
has access to everything, right?
Yeah, it is setup specific.
Uh-huh.
So the implementation consultant role and the IT security manager role. So both the roles we will not customize it. Instead, we
Okay.
will customize the accounts payable manager or accounts receivable manager or general accountant. So these things we
Okay.
will customize it.
Yeah, but then the implementation consultant role and that will be automatically given to us, or we need to create it? We don't need to, right? When we have, let's say I'm talking about the initial,
Yeah,
first when we
exactly.
get that.
Yeah. So we don't need to create it. So this will be given by Oracle. If you see here,
Hmm.
Even though I have it, but still it is given by Oracle. I can select it from the list.
Okay.
So maybe I'll take from here. Yeah. So this is the role. So it is given by Oracle by default.
Okay. So what's the difference between the ORA ASM role and the other one on the top? ASM Application Implementation Consultant, and the one below says ORA.
Yeah. So this is copy. This Aura is copy of ASM.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is the original role that is given by Oracle for testing purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so for the testing purpose, people has created Aura underscore ASM.
Okay.
But basically, we will not restrict this particular role since it is only setup specific. So
Mm-hmm.
we will try to customize the other roles like the general accountant.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see it from here that ASM application job copy.
Copy.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so similarly. So what this role will do is that it will allow us to do this setups. So the module specific setups. So it will
Mm-hmm.
allow us to see the setup and maintenance part. And the second role that we have is that IT security manager. So IT
Mm-hmm.
security manager will basically allow us to create a user and customize the role or attach the role to the user.
Mm-hmm. So the IT setup manager is not restricted just to the setups, right?
Yeah, that is not just to the setup. That is only for the user management and the roles management.
Yeah.
So for setup purpose, we are giving application implementation consultant.
Mm-hmm. So you are actually creating a new user, which is Aura 12, right?
Yeah, yes, correct.
So there are a couple of options there for auto provisioning, right?
Yeah,
So, so when you click, let's say when you select the auto provisioning,
okay.
so automatically this user will have those
Yeah,
roles.
yeah, yes, correct.
So, so even if you don't check that, it's still when you check the assignable, which means that he has the role. So what's the difference? Why do they have that there?
So auto provision is something that we don't need to do anything. Just a minute. Let me take. Yeah. So in this case, if you see, this is assignable. Assignable, which means I have assigned this role to the
Mm-hmm.
user named Arun123.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, I didn't enable this auto provision. So this will be enabled at the roles level. So if I have enabled this option, I can check this box. So whereas if you see here,
Mm-hmm.
even though I try, I cannot provision this.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is kind of an grants actually. Um,
Okay.
yeah, even though we don't give this, but still we will have the relevant roles and the other things. But the auto provision is only at the level of the grants and the access.
Grants, and what was the other one?
Access, like the grants, what?
Access.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So when you say grants, if you can explain what that grants means.
yeah. Just
Sorry, I'm asking you too many
yeah, no.
questions.
Okay, let me check if some role is created with auto provision.
Is it normally this slow, or is it just because it's a test instance?
Yeah, I mean it is test instance, and mostly it is used by few other participants as well. So that is why it
Yeah.
is slow. So or else it will not be slow actually. So since it is cloud, it should be fast. So mostly people use on evening times,
No.
on this one India time. On evening times, basically everyone is using. So that's why it is little slow.
It's okay if you can't find it now, that's fine. We can move on next time when you take something with the security rules and something, that's when we can discuss. It's not a big deal.
Okay, maybe I'll take a few auto provisioned roles and maybe I can show you.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Not a big deal. I know it's a lot to go through, but yeah, I was just curious. That's it. So do you cover this also, Arun? The security roles like the job roles, duty roles, abstract
Yeah, yes,
roles?
yes, we will see. We will
Okay.
see those also.
Okay. Yeah. Then probably at that time we can see.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are the two roles you assigned just now?
So we assigned application implementation consultant and IT security manager.
IT security manager. Okay.
Yeah. So with these two roles, so these are the options that we will have. So mostly
Okay.
on our personal information and the inquiry part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So since we have assigned the application implementation consultant, we will have access to the setup and maintenance part.
Mm-hmm.
And also we will have access to all the this thing like report and analytics and schedule process and
Mm-hmm.
the security console, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So the security console we are getting since we have attached the IT security
IT
manager.
security manager.
Yeah. So from here, maybe once I receive this credentials from Oracle, I'll
Mm-hmm.
create a new role, and from here again I can create the new users and customize the role and attach the roles to the user. I can do
Mm-hmm.
it from here, security console.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll just navigate to setup and maintenance, and we will try to create a new project, and we'll start with our basic configuration.
Mm-hmm. How often do they refresh this environment?
This environment or the generally?
This,
This
this one,
Yeah, this one they will refresh weekly once.
weekly ones, and in production, it's also weekly, right?
No, production basically they don't refresh actually. So production is ongoing. So the
Mm-hmm.
development instance and the test environment they will refresh.
Oh, okay. Sorry, not the production. Yeah,
Yeah,
the development and test. So that's weekly.
yeah, that's weekly.
Okay. And it's every Friday or every Saturday?
For now they are not having a specific time. So it depends on the production. I mean the performance issues. So now if you see, it is loading. I mean it is taking more time. So on those
Mm-hmm.
cases they will refresh it.
Okay. But nothing like work day, which is like specific day of the week, like Saturday they do every day. I mean, every week they do that. So,
Yeah, they don't have schedule for this. So whenever they see performance issues, they are refreshing the instance.
okay.
So I will just explain this page. So
Mm-hmm.
here I can explain. I mean I can search any task actually from here.
Mm-hmm.
So this search is only pertaining to this particular process. So if I select compensation, so I will be
Mhm.
able to select or search only related to the compensation management. Maybe if
Mhm.
I select financials, I will be able to search only on the financial part of it.
Mhm.
So this is kind of a shortcut to us. So I can just click the legal structure, and from here I can navigate if this project has been assigned to me. So I can just do
Mhm.
that one.
Mhm.
And apart from that, in the sidebar we have a search option. So where we can select, we can search any setup or any task that we wanted to do. So for
Mhm.
example, if you click the search, maybe I can give manage user,
Mhm.
and I'll get the manage user setup. So whereas in the other page, if you see there, we will see or we will get search results only based on the options that we have selected.
Mhm.
And if you see here, so these are the options that we have. So
Mhm.
this is based on the multiple combination. So since we have given manage user,
Mhm.
so this is our option that we wanted to take. So we can just
Mhm.
click this. So it will directly navigate to the page that we wanted to do the employee creation. So we
Mhm.
can do this way.
Mhm.
And we have other options here. So under action, so if you see here, so we have the setup data. So
Mhm.
we can take the backup of our setup data if we wanted to take. So again
Okay.
here it is based on our the selection. So if I
Okay.
click compensation management, I'll be able to take backup of only the compensation. If I
Mhm.
select financials, I can take the financial part of it.
Okay.
So similarly, if I want to import any setup, I can import, or maybe on the available setup, I can export it. So these are,
Can you
yeah,
tell me more about the import? What do you
yeah.
mean import? From where do we import this?
So I have two instances. So one is test environment and the other is development environment.
Oh,
So
okay, got it.
yeah, in the test maybe I will not have the setup data. So maybe I can just uh,
Yeah, yeah,
export.
got it.
Yeah, yeah,
So you basically give the path to the test instance and then just
yeah,
import it. Okay.
yeah,
And same thing with export.
yeah. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and apart from that, maybe CSV file or anything. So those are related
What
to
do we do there for a CSV file? What do you import normally or export with to CSV file?
so nothing. Just the setup data. So it is in different
This is
format.
also for setup.
Yeah, setup only.
Okay.
So apart from that, we can just edit our implementation status if we want to change it. And
Hmm.
maybe if we want to add any features or offerings that we can change the feature selections.
Okay.
And
So
and
we can do it from here also.
yeah,
One is through the implementation project there by
yeah,
near the task. Okay. And this one. Okay.
yes. This is kind of a shortcut actually.
Hmm. So there's something here also that like manage export and import processes.
Yeah,
What is this? Is that similar to
yes,
the one that we just saw earlier?
yeah, same thing.
Okay. So how many guys how many guys are there in your batch, current batch?
So current batch they have we have almost done. So we have only three people left actually in this batch,
Yeah, okay.
in evening batch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. So that is the only batch that is running now. So that should be done in another 1 or 2 weeks actually.
Okay. Did anybody find jobs in Fusion after they've trained yet?
Actually, there are some people, but I mean, some people are sticking to EBS because of the market. They are just analyzing most of the people. So
Yeah, yeah.
some people they have just switched over from this one EBS to Fusion.
So they got the jobs.
Yeah, they got it. So that depends actually. So there is a guy who resigned and he looked for the opportunity and he got it actually.
Okay, okay. So tell me, how are these? I'm just curious, okay?
Yeah.
When they don't have the experience, right? How do they get that job?
Yeah. So if you see,
Because mine is that case. Every time I do something, I don't I I say I frankly tell them I don't have experience. Then they don't give me anything.
yeah, actually there are two kinds. Actually, one part is that one who don't have exposure, but they can relate it to the EBS and they will say that already I have done one project or maybe the support project, so they can handle it easily. So that way they might go. And the other part is that they will say that I have trained it, and maybe after interview, if they feel satisfied, they will take. But
Okay,
the package will be very less for the second case. But for
of
the
course.
first case, it will be little higher since he has added a few experience for that.
Yeah, basically you have to fake it to make it.
Yeah. So, but switching over, it will take time to get into path because everyone will expect to have real-time experience actually.
I know that's the problem. I'm like, guys, give me a break. First, if you give me a chance, then I will tell. I can do it too. You won't believe I spent 2 years on that HCM just to learn that and on my own, and then did the certification, everything. I got so mad. I just gave up. That's why if HCM is coming my way, also, I'm not taking any job. I'm not even looking at the job description. I said, get lost.
Okay.
See, the problem is, at least you guys have it, like when you work for other companies like this TCS, HCL, and other companies, they have multiple projects, so you can actually fake it easily,
Yeah.
saying that you supported something or you didn't support, or maybe you have hands-on experience. You can tell whatever you want.
Yeah.
But with people like us, right, it's very difficult to fake because sometimes if the company doesn't have that, I don't know how you fake it. So, but there are people I'll tell you from my company, there were consultants, they say consultants who left.
Okay.
They went into Fusion. That guy never even looked at Fusion. He doesn't
Okay.
even know what Fusion is. His friends pulled him into one
Okay.
project, but he faked that they were having that in our company. I was like, what if they, go back and check?
Yeah,
Well,
actually, the advantage for them is that people will do background verification for the company and the years of experience and all those things, but not on the project or the technology. So they
yeah, I
will
know.
just, yeah, so they will just jump into it.
You need to be gutsy enough to fake it and then go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every time any time I faked it, I was caught. So I'm like, I gave up. I said, forget it. I never faked that I knew anything or any
Yeah.
such thing, but I just said, oh, I'm still working.
Okay.
That's it. Caught. Then I said, shit, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, so even I have the other student actually, other participant. So even he tried. I mean, he didn't want to, but since there was some call, he just updated that he knows Fusion. Like he worked before 2 years or 3 years. So he
Hmm.
just took interview and he got the opportunity actually.
Yeah, you need to be lucky. Sometimes, even if you don't have it, you just right time, right place is what they say. So
Yeah,
you just need to find that. Sometimes people, they ultimately they search and take up some fake fellow. When you tell the truth, they don't take you.
yeah,
But I'll be thinking mental fellows, they're taking all fake fellows. This was 3 years back. They wanted
okay.
3-4 years experience. Imagine that. That time only it was new.
Yeah, even
I,
I have seen people.
mm,
I mean,
I
not.
mean, I'm telling this because, just between you and me. So I
Yeah,
said, are you mental? It just came recently. How the heck will this fellow have so much experience, idiots? And I'm telling you, I don't have the experience, but I took everything. You're not giving me a chance to even try. So, anyway, that's life. How is it? Can we put something like, if Indian companies, how can we say that? Let's say if I say Indian companies, I have to show that I'm working for your company, right?
yeah, yes.
That's another pain. Who'll tell me?
Like how I didn't get exactly.
I'm sorry.
No, like if you're working somewhere and you wanted to put Indian company, that case you're asking.
No, not in that case. What I'm saying is, let's say if I want to show that I have experience in fusion. Let's assume I want to show
Okay,
experience in fusion. Let's say your company has fusion. And
okay,
anyway, I'm out of job right now. So I'll tell I worked for your company.
okay.
But somebody has to tell me that I worked for your company, right? When they do the
Yeah, yeah,
background check, they
yeah,
can't
yeah,
just say I just went and did that. I'll kick my butt again.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so that we need to have someone that is correct actually.
I mean, somebody who owns a company or something, I have to go tell them, "Arey bhai, feku for me." Maybe I should also become smart and use my company as saying they have fusion, they have everything. Get lost. Give me a job.
Yeah, it is really a matter of handling actually, more than we express it. So it is only about how we handle the panelist. So if you are able to say that we have enough experience and this thing, so there are people they are recruiting, they are giving a chance also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that they will ask something on the real-time scenarios, like what they have seen in the project. So they will just test with those cases. So if you are able to answer, they will give chance actually. So it's not that all companies are expecting only the persons who has worked on. So there are
Hmm.
companies they will just look
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the
I mean, that's what I said, right? Right time, right place. You need to find the right
exactly.
person. I mean, sometimes you, it's luck
Yeah,
for you
even
to.
even there are a few MNCs they have taken, but then they know that this person doesn't have experience, but he is able to handle few projects. So they thought
Yeah.
why to take him out, and they are just moving with it. So he's surviving in the market.
Yeah. See, once you go into the project by hook or crook, you'll get the work done, no
Yeah,
matter what. Do you think all the people that are working on the offshore teams know everything? They shadow somebody, they learn something, they kick their butts and they learn it. But I'm just saying. So
yeah,
once somebody should get an opportunity, right? You don't even give the opportunity. How the heck will you get it?
yeah, yeah, that is true.
So it's still thinking. It's pretty slow.
Yeah, so even if so. Maybe people are using it. Or else it will be usually a bit fast actually.
So where do you live in Chennai?
So I'm in Anna Nagar actually.
Oh, okay. So east or west?
This is near this one, 12th Main Road actually, near west actually.
Near west. Okay.
So you've been
My
into Chennai.
yeah. I come to Chennai because my parents are in Tada.
Okay,
But Chennai, I usually visit because all my uncles, aunts, and everybody used to be there.
okay,
Hananagar, east near Chintamani, my aunt used to be there.
okay,
Now they
okay,
moved to the ECR road.
okay.
For me, that was Ananagar was better because it was kind of center. That
Mm.
ECR is almost like I don't know where. It's almost like another village somewhere we're going out of the city.
Here is basically near to the IT park, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
kind of
And I think now it's all growing there.
yeah,
I mean, what I meant is it's far.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's it's not close to. Boy, this is pretty slow.
Yeah.
So all your studies in Chennai itself?
I did undergraduate in Pollachi actually, near Coimbatore.
Ah, so
Yeah,
Pollachi. Okay. I like that. I see that place in the movies.
okay,
And it's so beautiful. So I tell my cousin's wife is from Pollachi. So
okay.
sometimes I tell her, I said, oh, it's so beautiful. I should come and visit that place sometime.
So I did undergraduate there and PG I did it in Chennai.
Pichinchen. Okay.
Yeah, so these parts we have seen, so I'll just say it once again. So if we want to edit the status of the project, we can edit it from here. So the other
Mm-hmm.
shortcut that what we saw in the earlier page,
Mm-hmm.
change the status. And if we want to assign this particular task, maybe in a company, we have 3 to 4 consultants.
Mm-hmm.
So in this 4 consultant, we will have 2 consultant for finance and 2 consultant for SEO. So
Mm-hmm.
under finance, maybe let's say GL and AP is handled by resource one, and ARFA and CMS is handled by resource two. So in
Mm-hmm.
this case, we can just pick our offering, so that is AP, and we can just assign this task
Mm-hmm.
to the employee. So for that,
Mm-hmm.
we will have to be created this user and all those things. So once
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is created, we can assign it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to add a new task or new offering, that we can add. Or by
Mm-hmm.
mistake, if we have added, maybe we don't have the supply chain offering. By mistake,
Mm-hmm.
we have added it. So we can just select and we can click delete button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And apart from that, this is like in shortcut. Like we can edit the status, and if we want to reorder, we can reorder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all about. And if you want to search any specific task, so we can just give the percentage and we can search the task.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be our navigation. So we can just, so I'll just start with the GL part, the basic configuration. I'll
Mm-hmm.
start with the value set.
Mm-hmm.
So to create the value set, the navigation would be from define common application configuration. we will select define enterprise structure for financial. So from here, we will click define financial reporting structures. Yeah. So under this chart of accounts. Yeah. So basically here, if we see, so we have multiple setups involved in creating the chart of accounts. So we have chart of account value set, then we have chart of account structure, then we have chart of account instance. So the difference between chart of account structure and chart of account instance is that let's take a simple example where we have maybe 10 segments. So we have company, accounts, department, intercompany, and location. Let's take maybe five segments or six, including the cost center. So
Mm-hmm.
in the six segments, if we want to enable only three segments for this particular chart of accounts, so I can include company, accounts, and maybe I can say location. So I use only these three, and apart from the other three, I can use it for the different chart of account instance. So for this
Mm-hmm.
purpose, we are having structure and instance. So this has been taken from our this thing space. So
Mm-hmm.
this is taken from space basically. So after we create our ledger, it will create an
Just
cubicle
give me
value.
a second, okay? And let me
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
Yes. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. We'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So that is the difference between chart of account structure and chart of account instance.
Can
Like
you repeat that again? Sorry.
yeah. So the difference between chart of account structure and chart of account structure at instance is that. So let's take six segments in the chart of account structure. So
Mm-hmm.
in the six segments, I wanted to have only three segments. So the other three segments, maybe I'll create as a different chart of account instance, or maybe different combination also I can use it. So for those purposes, we have this instance and the chart of account structure. So when we are creating it, we will see it in detail so that we will
Okay.
understand. But at high level, we can use it for with the combination of the segments.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are attaching this chart of accounts with our ledger, we will attach the instance, but not the chart of accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the difference. So and after that, we will have the chart of account values. So these are the
Mm-hmm.
four setups that is involved in creating the chart of accounts.
Mm-hmm. Can you quickly give me the concept of that chart of accounts also?
Yeah, so chart of accounts is nothing but it will decide how we will account our transaction basically. So if you take any transaction or if you take any ERP application, so basically it is based on the account code.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll say 4701. This is my premium collection account. So based on this, I will create this transaction. But whereas in Oracle, if you take, so we have combination of account. So we can say maybe company, account and department. So with this combination, we are creating this. So we are creating this combination inside our chart of account. So this defines that how our value should be derived and how this value should be moved to the general ledger module and how it is being reported to the management. So this defines the entire process, how it needs to be done.
Mhm.
So once this is configured and the transaction is started, we cannot change back to the original thing. So
Mhm.
maybe at later point, if we wanted to add another segment or if we want to remove a particular segment, so that will create lot of issues. So in this case, addition of new segment, this might create data corruption issues. So let's say
Mhm.
we have created four segment. Upon this fourth segment, I don't want to have a fourth segment.
Mhm.
So we need to take a few precautions before disabling this segment. Because using this segment, we might have created few transactions. Maybe I have a vendor named A. So for this
Mhm.
vendor, I have maybe 100 invoices. So on
Mhm.
this 100 invoices, I might have maybe 50 open invoices, which is unpaid
Mhm.
invoices. So for those invoices, if I remove this particular segment without closing those invoices, so it will create big issues like the data corruption and the reporting part might go wrong. So that is why we need to take few precautions before adding or removing the chart of account segment. So
Mhm.
it is always suggested to take a proper discussion with client and close the solutioning part, whether we wanted to have four segment, five segment or six
Mhm.
segment to define it, and we will define it after completing it. We will start our transaction, because
Mhm.
once this is frozen, we cannot change this. So
Mhm.
so that is the disadvantage that we have.
Mhm.
Disadvantage in the sense business perspective, we can say it is a disadvantage. But if you
Mhm.
see here, so this is kind of a control,
Mhm.
because we if we leave this option open, like I can change at later point of time also.
They
So
keep on adding.
yeah, so that will be the problem. So that is the reason we are having this control. So
Mhm.
we need to be cautious when we are defining the chart of account structure.
Mhm.
So I'll just click this value set. So I'll just show like what are the options that we have while we are defining the value sets. So this is the page that we will create the value set. So we can just give the code, value set code, and we can search and we will get the results here. So if we want to add any specific values to this chart of account value set, we can click manage values. From there we can add the values.
Mhm.
So I'll create a new value set. Uh, so here I'm using this for the general ledger application as a whole. So I'm selecting
Mhm.
general ledger application.
Mhm.
And here we have multiple validations. So where we have format only, and we have independent, dependent, subset, and the table and view object.
Mhm.
So independent basically we will use where this particular value, this is not dependent on any other value, but this is entered by a functional consultant in the front end manually or using the spreadsheet. So that we will select independent. So dependent is something that depending on another value set. So let's take our uh, major and minor category. So when we are seeing the asset module, so we will see something called major and minor. So major
Mhm.
is something that we say furniture, and
Mhm.
minor is something we say table, chair, or something. So it is
Mm-hmm.
kind of a master and parent and child concept.
Mm-hmm.
So for those things, we will use dependent. So the dependent value is always depending on the independent value. So that
Mm-hmm.
is the difference between independent and dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So subset is again inclusion or again a part of another value set.
Mm-hmm.
And table is something the values will be derived from the table, but whereas we will not be able to add any values to this particular value set. It will be always derived from the table.
Mm-hmm.
And view object is used for the reporting purpose where it will be viewed only. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
it is used only for the reporting purpose, but we will not be able to add any values or make any changes to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just click independent. So here, if you want to add character, number, or date, we can add it. Since we are using for the company, I'm taking character. So I'll give maximum length. So this I'm giving it to 6.
So Arun, do you have any notes for these?
Yeah. Yes, we have notes. So okay, I'll send you.
Yeah, because just I mean, just to go through the notes, it'll make sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So similarly, I'll create for the account and the another two segments also.
So do we have to define the segments first, or this
No,
value
not
is at first?
yeah, value set first. Because when we are defining the segments, so we will
Mm-hmm.
have to close this chart of account structure. So to close the chart of account structure, so
Oh, you
attaching
need
the
to
value
define this
set,
first.
yeah, attaching the value set will become mandatory. So unless we have
Okay.
this, we will not be able to complete the structure part. So that
Okay.
is why this is mandatory.
No, it is. I'm just trying to differentiate in my head.
Okay.
The reason why I'm having that trouble is because, if you put it on a paper and if you
Okay.
tell me this is the segment, I mean, this is the chart of account structure we are planning to do, and this
Okay.
is the value set, and this is what we want to do, then it'll be easy for me to relate.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just seeing this and I'm like, okay, where is this going?
Okay. Maybe we
Does
can
it make sense?
yeah, yeah, we can do that. So, okay, what we will do is that maybe I'll take the same Excel sheet and maybe we can,
Yeah, if you just put it on the Excel sheet and tell me, like, what is your plan of what your structure looks like, and then what is the thing that you want to do under that.
yeah, yeah, sure. So, I'll share the Excel sheet.
Because for me right now, my brain is going everywhere.
Okay, so we will have four segments. So we
Mhm.
will have company segment.
Oh, so when you say value set, it is a segment.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
okay. So basically, we have segment. Segment defines that how this engine should work. But
Okay.
in order to work or to make this engine work, we need values. So
Yes.
this values will be loaded based on the value set. Or on
Okay. Okay.
value set, we are loading the values.
Hmm. Got it. You'll have to be a little patient with me with these concepts.
No problem. Yeah. So these are the
Value
four
set,
value
and
set
those are
that
the
we will
segments.
create. Yeah. And then we will create the segment. So
All the four, right? Up.
yeah, yes, correct. So I'll just copy from there. So we say this is segment, and we say nature, and yeah, this should be sufficient. So we say balancing segment for company. So this is not
Hmm.
mandatory that all the time we need to have balancing segment only for the company. So it
Hmm.
depends like how the customer wants to have it. So what is balancing segment is something that it defines whether the debit and credit will always be nullified.
Hmm.
So mostly, most of the projects that I have seen, that is company segment, client prefers to have balancing segment. But in this
Hmm.
case, if we want, maybe we have the location. So client wants to have for the location, we can have it. Or maybe
Hmm.
we have the budget segment. So if we want to maybe balance on the budgeting segment, that we can do it. So where we are attaching this balancing segment defines the debit and credit will be always equal.
Okay.
And we have accounts. So this defines that how and this segment should work basically. So if you say natural account, so
Hmm.
this account should have nature of the account. So that is whether the account is this is an asset account, liability account, or revenue account, expense account. This nature should be there. And apart
Okay.
from that, the other options will be there, like allow posting, allow budgeting, and whether
Hmm.
this account is in summary account. So summary account is nothing but it is in parent account.
Hmm.
So it is combination of different accounts. So similarly, we have the other options. So basically, we will categorize this as a natural account. So
Hmm.
this natural account cannot be to the different segment. Like for department, we cannot attach the natural segment. The entire values will be changed.
Hmm.
So then we have departments. So when we are dealing with the asset module, so we will need the cost center as an nature or the label. So unless
Hmm.
we have this, we will not be able to transfer the asset. We can configure the asset module and
Hmm.
we can run the depreciation, we can add assets and all those things is possible. But only check that we will have is that we will not be able to transfer the asset from one employee or one location to the other location or the other employee. So that is where we need the cost center label.
Okay.
Then we have intercompany. So how do we define the intercompany? So maybe I'll just have a simple structure here. So in this case, we have taken one ledger. So one ledger for the entire United States, and we
Mm-hmm.
have three legal entities. So
Mm-hmm.
under this particular legal entity, we have maybe three business units, and under CAL we have two business units,
Mm-hmm.
and under MA we have four business units. And we have something called balancing segment value. So these are the values that we are loading it here. On the balancing segment, we are loading the values. So this is
Mm-hmm.
what we are attaching to this particular ledger. So balancing segment value can be attached either to the ledger or to the legal entity. So that depends actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay.
would say maybe 1000 attaching, 1000 and 1001. So we have attached it, and for this maybe we will attach 2000, 2001, and 2002. So for this maybe we will attach only 3000. So this is our structure at high level.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, how do we define our intercompany transaction? So we have two things. So one is intra-company and the other is intercompany. So what is the difference between intra-company and intercompany is that if we do transaction within the legal entity or the within the particular legal entity, in this case NYLE, so we say intra
Mm-hmm.
transfer or the intra-company
Mm-hmm.
transaction. But whereas
Mm-hmm.
if we do transaction between the legal entities, so that we call intercompany transaction. So what I
Mm-hmm.
will do is that I'll do transaction between 1000 and 2000. So this becomes my intercompany transaction. But whereas I do transaction between 1000 and 1001, so this becomes my intracompany transaction.
Intra-company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our segment, and this is our nature. So we will use the same. So this is our chart of account. So we will use all segments for our chart of account instance,
Mm-hmm.
and we will try to load few values for the company account and department and the other fields as well. So we will create it in system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, okay. A quick question here.
Yeah.
So, so now you have opened, you've created a project, let's
Yes.
assume.
Yeah.
You've moved from that to you're going to the configurations of GL,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But before you do this, you'll have to create the enterprise structure, or is it you can create that enterprise structure later also?
No, this would be a parallel activity, but we don't have any dependency with enterprise structure actually. So this will form a complete structure, but HCM consultant will be working parallelly with us. Like the supply chain will be working and finance and HCM similarly, but
Okay.
we don't have any dependency. So where we have dependency is that when we are attaching the legislative data group to the
Mm.
legal entity. So that is where we have few dependency with the HCM consultant. But apart
Yeah.
from that, to create the value set, chart of account, so here we don't have any dependency. So this is
Okay.
independent.
So the ledger and all that is also not really, we are not worried about it right now.
Yeah, yeah. So this is independent.
Okay.
Okay, so we have created four values. So what we created in, what we did it in Excel sheet, we have created it.
Mm-hmm.
Company, accounts, department, and intercompany. So this is for the value set. So
Mm-hmm.
now we will navigate to the structure, and we will try to create our segments and compile it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just click manage structure.
Mm-hmm.
So from here I can add. So here we will have two parts. So one is at the header level information and the line level information. So header would be for the chart of account structure, and line level would be for our segments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give a short code for our structure, and we will give the delimiter. So delimiter is nothing but the segregation. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
four segments: company, department, and account and intercompany. So
Mm-hmm.
company value starts from 100, and maybe department starts from 200. So how do we want to segregate or delimit our segments?
Mm-hmm.
So usual practice is to give it as a dot. So I'm using the same thing.
Dot. I thought it was hyphen. No.
I think it is dot actually. Okay, you want to give hyphen.
No, no. I'm just saying because
Okay.
normally I thought it was hyphen.
Yeah, usually it is dot actually, so that it will
Dot.
be easy
Okay.
for.
But it's up to us, right, to choose
Yeah, yeah.
whatever we
Yes,
want.
yes, yes.
See, I confuse you also.
Okay. Okay, so we created a structure. So now we can add segments to the structure.
If you have the notes on this one, share it with me, okay?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Because I have to go through the notes to make my brain tune with this.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Okay. So this is the segment code that we are using, UHI underscore company. And we have the API name. So where will we use this API name is that let's say we have in our use case we have two applications. So one is core application and the other
Mhm,
is Fusion. So
mhm,
in this case, if we wanted to call the some package in core application, or maybe
mhm,
we wanted to expose any web services to the core application. So for those part, when it involves with the chart of accounts or the account code combination, so we can use this API name. So that is UHCOMP. So we can use
Mm-hmm.
this and we can call this. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of having API name.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, others are like just a naming convention. So I'm just using the same thing like the segment code I'm using for the segment name and the description as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we can give the sequence. So column name is nothing but the values. Maybe we will have 10 companies under this implementation. So if we create the values for this particular value set, so where should it be saved? So it will be saved under segment 1. If I take segment 2, it will be saved under segment 2. Similarly, we are just selecting where it should be saved. So value set. So if you see here, so we have this value set up our attachment as mandatory. So if it is asterisk, it is mandatory. So unless
Mm-hmm.
we give this, we will not be able to complete our startup account. So that is why value set creation is first setup.
First, okay.
Yeah.
Company is the balancing.
Yeah.
I
So we
believe there
have
are two more, right? Like that, something like secondary, second balance,
secondary, third, balancing
third of
segment, third.
all.
So this is newly added in Fusion actually. If we wanted to have a secondary balancing segment, so that we can have it. But I haven't seen any customers using secondary balancing segment. Because
Why do they use it? I mean, what is the second balancing segment?
yeah,
What's the purpose?
yeah. So balancing segment will basically nullify debit and credit in terms of journal entry or the trial balance.
Mm-hmm.
So if we use secondary balancing segment, it will also nullify. So if we have a special requirement that
Mm-hmm.
maybe my budget and the company segment should be nullified, both the debit and credit. So for
Mm-hmm.
those cases, we can use secondary balancing segment. But
Okay.
mostly companies use only the primary balancing segment. So apart from that, only one segment they are using for balancing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Okay.
there are options. If we wanted to use, we can use. So this is the nature of the segment. So what we were saying, like we have balancing segment, and then we have cost center, and apart from the mandatory segments, we have other few segments also. So this will
Mm-hmm.
act as an reporting part. If you see division segment, so division is
Mm-hmm.
nothing but our line of business.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is very less that people use division segment. So this will act as an reporting part.
Mm-hmm.
And we have intercompany. So intercompany will be mostly used because
Mm-hmm.
if they wanted to track the business between one company to the other company inside the same group of companies, they
Mm-hmm.
can track it. Also, they will use it. So
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, local use, all these are customized.
Okay. Oh, those are custom?
No, custom in the sense we don't have any actual meaning for it, but it is
Okay.
used for the reporting part.
Okay.
Like if you see project also, so project doesn't give any meaning, but if we want to track the project, maybe we will
Mm-hmm.
let's say we are into the construction business and we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to track our project based on the timeline that we are giving, or maybe if we want to see the profitability of each project, so that we can define a segment called project, and we can attach this segment, and we can see the profitability of the each project.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, we have other reporting part. So, so since this is department, I'm taking cost center segment.
Mhm.
So for accounts, we are taking natural account. So I'll attach intercompany segment for intercompany. So now we have defined our structure. So we can create the instance. So I'm just selecting the structure name. By
Mhm.
selecting the structure name, I'll get all the segments that we created. And if you see here,
Mhm.
it will be required will be unchecked by default.
Mhm.
So maybe if you, that's what I was saying, we if we have six segments, on the six segments, if you wanted to have maybe only three segments, so we
Mhm.
can leave with the remaining three segments, and we can enable only the three segments that we wanted to have.
Okay, how do you do that?
Yeah. So I'll select this particular segment and I'll click edit. So if I leave,
Required.
yeah, required as an unchecked, so which means I'll not be using this particular segment.
Mhm.
So I'll enable this. So here there are two things. So one is that so to one validation, like if we wanted to do any transaction, so
Mhm.
we need to have at least two segments. So we
Mhm.
cannot work with one segment or less than two. So
Yeah,
we need to have minimum balancing
company
segment
and
and
accounting.
natural account. Yeah.
Natural. So there is one thing called query required, optional. What is that?
So query is something that we can write a query, and based on that, if we want to derive the values, like we were seeing in the data, I mean value set, that
Mhm.
table based value. So similarly,
Okay.
if we want to derive the values from there, so that we
Mhm.
can set up.
Okay.
But this is optional, so I'm just giving this.
So do you use the tree structuring also?
No, tree structuring, for now we are not using. So tree structure is something that it is kind of an parent and child concept.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see in EBS, it will be at one level. So beyond one level, we cannot extend it. But here
Mm-hmm.
in this case, I can extend even to the eighth level or the ninth level also. So that is the advantage of having the tree structure.
What does that mean?
So, okay, maybe I'll explain this. So I have a segment called maybe 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my total liability.
Mm-hmm.
So below this, I have a segment called 1,000. So this is my current liability. And below this, I have 100 maybe. This would be my accounts payable.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I have taken three levels.
Mm-hmm.
So first level would be my parent actually. So if you see here, so this is parent
Mm-hmm.
and this is child to this parent.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be parent and this would be child. And if you take here, so this 100 would be the child of 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas this 1,000 is parent of this 100. So this
Mm-hmm.
will form a multi-layer.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, we can set up till 8th level also. So that is
Okay.
based on the requirement. If we have a requirement to take it at the eighth level, so we can have it.
Mm-hmm.
So on
Mm-hmm.
top of it, so this will form a summary account. So since this is an parent account, so this will be
Mm-hmm.
classified as a summary.
Mm-hmm.
So summary is nothing but combination of multiple accounts. So always we
Okay.
will do transaction with our child, so which is 100. So
Mm-hmm.
here if you take in this case, we will do transaction only with 100. We will not do
Mm-hmm.
transaction with either 1,000 or 10,000
Mm-hmm.
because this is parent to 1,000. Again, 1,000 is parent to 100.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason both this 10,000 and 1,000 are summary accounts. But whereas this, if you see, this is child. So we will create transaction with accounts payable that is 100. So this is what we call tree structure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. We will move to application.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So basically we will define tree structure and we will attach it. So this part we will see when we are loading the values. So
Okay.
we have two parts actually. So
Mm-hmm.
one is to create it manually. So to
Mm-hmm.
create manually, I'll show for company, department, and the other part. And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, we have another part that is for the account code. So since we have at least 400 to 500 accounts, we cannot create it manually. So what we will
Yeah.
do is that,
Corporate account.
yeah, is correct. So we will try to load these values using the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So where the tree structure and all those things are mandatory. So we will see at that time. So
Okay.
what is
So
tree
it'll be
structure?
covered there, right? Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Because now everything is flying over my head.
So I have enabled all the segments. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just save and I'll deploy this particular chart of account structure and instance.
Mm-hmm.
So deploying is nothing but we are just checking or validating whether we have any issues with the
The
startup
structure we
account.
created.
Yeah, we created.
What's
So
that?
someone has
Flex
created.
field metadata validation error.
Yeah, actually, someone has created flex field structure with ABC. So there are some issue with ABC chart of accounts.
But we didn't do ABC, right?
Yeah, we didn't do, but this, if you see, this will not compile only for our chart of accounts,
So
but
whatever is pending, it'll just pick everything.
yeah, yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll just check ABC.
Is that compulsory, that enabled thing?
Yeah, unless we enable this option, so we cannot use this particular segment.
Oh, oh, that's what somebody missed.
Yeah.
Okay. So all these ABCs, your students.
So, yes, yeah, I think they created parent and child combination without tree structure, I think. So that is why it is.
Hmm.
I mean, okay.
Hey, Arun,
Yeah, yes.
going forward, right? If you can first tell me the concept a little bit and then show me in the application, that would make more sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay, because maybe you're thinking I'm too experienced in this financials. I'm not. So, so I need the concept before I get into the application itself.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. No problem. So I'll explain. Maybe after that I'll come. I mean, even I was thinking that already you
Yeah,
worked
because
and
yeah,
you.
no, I worked, as I told you, I worked in multiple things. So it's not like one specific only financials or anything like that. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bits and pieces are, it's not like full conceptual thing, right? So it's all
Yeah.
bits and pieces.
Okay, okay, sure. No problem. I'll explain it and then maybe. Uh,
Yeah, then it'll become easier for me to grasp why we are doing certain things.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
In every company, I get new modules. The one that I work, they won't give me in that. They'll get in a
Yeah.
different module. That has been my thing. This is taking longer than the previous one.
Yeah, actually there are few exceptions, I think. Mostly it is related to tree version.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe we can do one thing. We can log off for today. I'll
Yeah, yeah.
close this exception and maybe
Hmm.
we will see it tomorrow.
Yeah, what time tomorrow? We can
Yeah,
do it early tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Anytime on your convenience. We can do it
Mm.
tomorrow. Sunday only. So I
Evening,
don't.
what time? What time is convenient for you? Evening.
Maybe 4:35 anytime.
Yeah, that's fine with me. 4:30. Your 4:30 is what? Oh no, your 4:30 is way too early for me.
uh,
Your 5:30 is my 7 a.m.
okay.
So maybe 5:30 your time?
Yeah, yeah, fine. No problem. We'll have it 5:30.
Yeah. And if you can share some notes on these, at least I can go through.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I'll share after this, please.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah,
So, yeah. And then again, Mondays it'll be in the evenings, right? So it's okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So we'll log off for today and I'll
Yeah,
save it notes and maybe we'll connect 5:30 tomorrow, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And keep an eye out for, you know, anybody has any dumps or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure. I'll check with, I'll check and I'll give it.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
because you youngsters will have more of these than me.
Yeah, sure, I'll check. Okay, fine. Then
Okay,
we'll
then
just,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow at 5:30 your time, which is 7 a.m. my time. Okay.
yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.